Welcome to a new edition of the Gerety Talks. I'm Lucian Guy, the co-founder of Gerety Award that brings together a jury to select the best in advertising from a powerful perspective. Today we are having a chat with the winners of the Young Lotus Awards from Adfest 2024. Young Lotus is one of the industry's longest-running mentoring programs, providing the next generation of advertising leaders with valuable hands-on practical experience since 2004. The program is open to advertising professionals aged 30 and under, with teams selected by local representatives in markets across the region. It involves talks, mentorings, and workshops, and a live brief with 24 hours to meet the deadline. The Young Lotus Workshop 2024 welcomed 36 participants from 18 cities, and Brandon Pigot, copywriter, and Justin Borromei, art director at Axelo in Sydney, were the 2024 winners, and they are here with us today. Welcome and congratulations. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
So let's start by introducing yourselves. Tell me a little bit more about your agency and your role. Justin, would you like to start?
Yeah. Brandon and I are both originally from Perth, so the west side of Australia, and we have been working together for maybe like 5 or 6 years now. So originally started in Perth at an agency called Market Force, and we worked there for a couple of years, and then made the move over to Sydney, and now work at Excello, and we've been here for just over 2 years, I think now, and loving it. We've a lot different type of work than what we originally were used to doing. We do a lot of kind of, I guess, experimental kind of activation sort of work like that, which is great. And it's been awesome so far. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think Excello, we do all things now. We started just doing experiential and activations, but we've been doing full service for a while. We've just got off the back of a big TV show, which was fun, and yeah, no, loving it.
How was the experience at the festival?
It was good. It was really eye-opening. I found sometimes in Australia you can get a little bit of a bubble seeing what's only being made in Australia and all of our advertising friends, what they're doing and stuff like that. But getting over to a sort of new market, and seeing and being exposed to all the amazing work that is happening all around the world, was super eye-opening, and it's really interesting to see how different markets approach the same problems in completely different ways, which is cool.
It was awesome. It was a bit of a cultural kind of melting pot of like different places around the world. So yeah, to Brandon's point, it was pretty amazing seeing the type of work that you just never see here, and just being exposed to that and speaking to people at the festival as well, and what they're doing. It was amazing. It was great.
Was it the first time you went there?
Yeah.
Okay. And how was your reaction? Sorry.
There definitely there wasn't many Aussies there. I think we only bumped into maybe 3 or 4, I think, for the week. But yeah, it was great.
And how was your reaction when you learned you were the winners?
It was pretty shocked. There was, I mean, like you said, there was like, was it 36 teams from around the world? And like everyone had amazing ideas. And it was really cool to see how everyone works. So yeah, it was. I don't think we realized that we weren't expecting to win. There was lots of amazing work from all teams.
It's pretty jam-packed. What was like 48 hours, I think, from like the start of the brief to actually winning in the end. So it was cool. It was a pretty big stage. We did a rehearsal the day before, and we're like, wow, this is huge. Because we had to end up like presenting the idea to the people there. So it was cool.
How many people did you have to present it to? A big audience?
Yeah.
It was a pretty big audience. I don't really know how many people were actually sitting in the seats, but there were lots of seats. And yeah, I think that was the first time that we've had to get mic'd up and have a mic sticky taped to our ears and down the back of our shirts and stuff like that. I've never done that before. Yeah, to Justin's point before, we had, I think it was 24 hours to work on the brief, and then they announced that, I think was it the top 10 or the top 5 or something? And then we had another 24 hours to refine and work on our ideas before we presented to the entire conference, which was pretty
Mhm.
nerve-wracking.
So the brief this year was for a great cause and highlights an issue that few people know about, which is skin donation. The creative brief was to come up with a new call for help campaign to raise awareness and drive skin donation registration for the renowned brand Vaseline. And the campaign should utilize a very unlike creative device to garner instant attention and talkability. So tell us a little bit about the campaign and how you came up with the idea.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a I mean we had no idea that you could donate skin. And the whole theme for Adfest was like how to use humor in advertising again. So the creative spin on talking about donating your skin in a humorous or lighthearted way was definitely a challenge. But for us, because we felt like we knew nothing about it, we just dived straight into the research and tried to become overnight experts on skin donation and everything that entails. And I think that's how that helped us a lot. That unlocked an insight that we used to create our entire campaign off.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I do remember we're doing a lot of because yeah, to be honest, we had like no idea this was even a problem. Um,
Mm.
Definitely not something that we've heard about in Australia before. So yeah, we had to really do a lot of research and um, yeah, it was cool. We ended up finding this insight that I think annually they need a kilometer squared of skin donations. And then we kind of, I'm not sure how we actually arrived at it. We kind of just thought that was like really interesting in terms of like actual size. So, and then we spoke about like, Thailand's known for its islands. Like there's lots of different islands. Like maybe there's some sort of comparison we can draw with, I guess, the actual that size and an island in Thailand. Then yeah, we ended up landing on this idea of Skin Island and like picking an island in Thailand that's the exact size needed to, um, yeah, resulting in how much skin donation they would need annually. And there was a lot of like other thoughts around it as well. Like we turned it into a bit of a skin retreat. So if you came to the island and took care of your skin, you could then become a donor post. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it sounds simple saying, oh, there's a simple stat of we need a square kilometer, so let's find an island that there's a square kilometer as well and use that as our device. But there was a lot of craziness going on in that 24 hours and throwing different ideas around and circling around to that. But yeah, the idea of being able to own an island, I think that was the cool part that we really liked about our idea is that if you pledge to donate your skin, you become a part owner of this island, Skin Island, and then you can go there and learn more about skin donation and look after your skin and make it seem less scary that you're going to donate your skin when you die.
Mm. Did you get any sleep those days?
A little
I
bit
think we got a
actually.
little, yeah, yeah.
We're not we don't work very well when we don't sleep. We've
Yeah.
discovered. So, it was we had a few tactical naps. And yeah, I think the fresh brains actually helped us a bit and stopped us from going around in circles in our little hotel room.
Yeah. It was a bit of a frantic morning. I remember going back to because we all met back at like the room, like not our room, but like a giant room with all the other teams. And everyone was discussing their like, kind of lack of sleep. And we were like, oh God, what have we, have we got enough work here? I'm not too sure. But um,
What
yeah,
did
it
we
was
get? We
interesting.
got
We
hours.
ended up presenting like three ideas. And I think they weren't as fleshed out as some of the other teams. And then I guess the judges kind of really pivoted towards like one of the ideas we had that we presented. And yeah, the skin and then we sort of, I guess then we had a lot more work to do in the refinement stage because we hadn't like fully fleshed out the idea. So yeah, it was hectic, but yeah, it was so fun. Yeah.
24 hours, and we decided to pitch three ideas in 24 hours and still try to get a little bit of sleep in there. I don't know if that was
Wow.
the brightest
Well
idea, but
done. And Brandon, you mentioned something about humor because the first half of the workshop that included talks and lectures was themed Dear Advertising, You Used to Be Funny. And after some years, and especially after the pandemic, people are really craving for humorous ads. What do you think is the key to use humor in the best way in advertising?
I think yeah, I mean those workshops were amazing, and we got to listen to some really awesome speakers from Ogilvy and all around the world really that came together and sort of talked about it. And I mean, we there was lots of good takeaways, but for me the main thing is being contextually relevant, and make it relevant to the audience you're trying to talk to, um, and doing it in a way and pretending that you're the audience. And would you enjoy that?
Mm.
One of the big things that um, we took away from it is not a lot of people care about ads. And the very least that we can do for the average punter is at least entertain them for a little bit and make it funny. They don't really care about watching ads like we actually do. So
Yeah.
the very least we
Yeah,
can
I
do
think
is be
like
funny.
the cultural insight stuff was like really interesting. Like a lot of the work we got shown and even the stuff that won at Adfest just had like a really incredible like cultural insight based on that country or that place that um was either like spurred something like super funny or just like really insightful about the idea. Yeah, that was cool. And so that's something we've definitely taken back home, I guess, around like, that cultural insight and like what's the thing that, everyone understands and then how do you expand on that to like an awesome idea. So um yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Because yes, some of the work needed explanation from the judges being like, this is a super big thing that happens in this community and
Mm.
that it works so well, or it's like really funny. So yeah.
Yeah, I think being brave as well, like it takes a lot to be funny. You have to put yourself out there and um yeah, being brave with the humor, not in an offensive way, like no one wants to offend anyone, but be brave to make a joke and have no one laugh. If you put yourself in that position, you're better off than trying to overthink a joke. That sometimes we
There was
get
that
caught up.
cool there was also a cool thing that they mentioned around kind of the decline of humor was sort of at the same time social media kind of started, which like we found super interesting as a way that like, social media became a way for people to comment on things and be like, this is X, Y, and Z. Like, why is like that kind of declined humor a bit? But I think now we're seeing that it's almost the reverse, and we're sort of, based on some of the stuff we saw in Adfest and the kind of conversation we had with, some really cool people, that it's definitely inclining again, which is good to hear.
Mm.
Yeah, and social is actually a big part of fueling the humor now. Like when it first came out, that was where everyone went to complain about whatever ad they saw on TV or why something annoys them. But now we can use the insights and sort of tap into the cultural listening of social media and use that to fuel the humor and have a conversation with people in an engaging way.
And you also mentioned cultural insights, and you were in touch with people from all around the world. Do you think there's something that makes Australian advertising recognizable for something in particular, or?
It's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think,
good question.
well, I mean, we're definitely not as funny, I don't think, as some of the stuff that we saw winning around the world. Um, yeah.
But we like
Maybe,
to think we are, but I don't think we are. I don't think we're as brave as some of the other countries out there at the moment. And I hope we can get a little bit more brave as a country. Um, yeah, yeah. Some of the Thai ads are just hilarious and
Mm, yeah,
stuff that you never would have thought of, but kind of wish you did.
yeah, they are very particular. And what do you
yeah.
think were your biggest learnings and inspirations coming back from the festival?
I think one thing I really took around was like just how much work needs to happen to make something like great. Like you have an idea of like what the effort you need to put in, but there's like so much that needs to go right, and so many people need to get on board for something to be like really good. Um, so that was interesting. Kind of getting everyone on board on the same page as well is like super important. Like it's not just like our job to come up with something great. It's like, the whole team and the people around it that help push that. Um, so that was really interesting, and I think um, yeah, something I definitely took away just speaking to some of the guys who were there and like the teams they've built around ideas that, take sometimes years to make, was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, coming up with a good idea is the easy part. We learn. getting it made, getting a team around you, and making sure it's in the right time and the right time for that idea is, um, yeah, hugely important to making good work.
And did you always know you wanted to work in advertising or the creative industry? So how did you get here?
Uh, Not really. No, I remember. Well, Brandon and I actually went to school together, which is a funny story. So we went to school together, and then personally, I was very much like into design at school, so more like graphic design. And um, I remember there was only like one course. Like Perth itself is like quite a small, I guess, creative community, you
Hmm.
would say. So there was only like one course in the whole of WA that you could do, which was like creative advertising and design. So I was like, cool. It just had like design on the end, so that must be like graphic design. And then, um, yeah, kind of just fell into it post like kind of through uni and yeah, the idea of like using your brain to come up with something and then that actually becoming a real thing is like awesome. And yeah, we kind of just fell into it, I suppose. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I during in school, I think I wanted to be an engineer. And
Hmm.
I was drawn to making stuff, so I did all that, the science and maths for engineering. And then I think in year 12, I was decided that I didn't want to do that and decided that I might want to be a graphic designer. And I think my family thought I was having a bit of a breakdown and dropped all the maths and all the hard subjects and took up design and art in the final year of school. And then similar to Justin, I thought I was going to be a designer. Um, so I also signed up for that course, the graphic design and creative advertising. And I was like, cool, I'll just get a double degree. I'll do design and figure out what this creative advertising thing is. And then once I just started it, I kind of figured out I was drawn a lot more to creative advertising than design. And Justin was always way better at design than me, and made me feel really shit about myself. So I was like, I'm gonna be a creative advertising person, and I didn't really know what that meant. And then I got it. I think I got like an internship somewhere in Perth, and just thought I'd try out giving copywriting a go,
Yeah.
and
I think
fell
it
in
was
love with
cool
it.
'cause we were very much like exposed to like, especially in Perth, there isn't a ton of agencies. So like we kind of jumped into an agency and got to work on some like epic projects like so early on. Like I think we did maybe like five or six kind of big TV productions in our first like couple years. And like we just kind of learned like so much in that kind of small network of
Hmm.
agency people. Like it really, I think, helped us even just move to Sydney, for example. Like the step from that was like a big thing for us. And yeah, ever
And
since then, we've
Perth's
been
such a
working.
tight-knit community as well. Like all the other creatives, like working there for what 3 4 years in Perth. I think we knew just about every other creative in the industry, and not just knew, but knew very well. And like we're still good mates with just about every creative in Perth. So every time we go back there, we catch up with a lot of them. But that sort of, I don't know, camaraderie and like everyone like helping each other and um, yeah, encouraging each other to sort of push their creativity really helped us as well.
That's cool. And where do you think the industry is heading towards? And where do you wish it was heading towards if it's not the same?
It's a big question. I hope the industry is heading towards more humor, and sort of rediscovering our love. And I mean, in Australia, rediscovering our funny bone. Not that it ever left, but I think we've definitely gotten a lot safer than we perhaps need to be.
Hmm.
Um, I
I
hope
think
it's
being
heading.
brave as well, the idea of like clients trusting kind of really brave work that, like pushes the dial for them and also, you know, makes them distinctive from other brands. Like I think, yeah, creatively, that's always something we're trying to do and, really push the boundary of like what the brief is and, the tone of the work. And um, I think there is clients and instances where like it does get through, but sometimes there is that kind of barrier where, maybe there's a bit of discomfort from the client of not like trusting, like not that the braveness of the work is like too much for them. So I think, um, yeah, brave work was a big thing we also took from Adfest. I remember that being like a thing that was mentioned a lot. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think there's a massive push to like well, one thing that we always want to do is try and do something new, and I can get why it's scary and hard to buy ideas that have never been seen or done before because you don't know if they'll work or if it's a good idea because it's never been done. But those are
Mm.
the ones that sort of that stand out, and hopefully we can keep pushing to do new things that have never been done before.
Yeah, and
And the
also,
last question, sorry,
oh no,
sorry,
I was just
sorry.
gonna say, I think that idea that like ads should be entertainment, like we're forcing these things on people in ways that like they should be, even if you don't necessarily follow through with what they're meant to do, they're meant to be entertainment. It should be like fun, you know? And I think that's something that we've maybe lost a bit, but we're trying to push back in our work, I guess, a bit as well. So yeah.
You can't bore people into buying things. You can't just tell them the price and the product and they'll go buy it. You have to form some sort of emotional connection, I think.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, emotional connection, that's good. And last question to wrap up, what briefs or projects would you like to work in the future? Do you have like a favorite thing you would like to do or?
Uh, hmm.
I guess the opportunity to do stuff that aren't ads, like the stuff that's been winning and stuff that inspires us, ideas that sort of are influenced by culture, but also influence culture and go beyond just like a TV or a radio or an out of home, like something that people love and don't actually know it started as an ad, something that
Mm.
like sort of
Yeah.
picks up.
It's always a fun thing when you tell someone you did something and they go, wait, you work in advertising though, right? And it's like what you've made has nothing to do with what people's perception of ads are, I guess, which is cool. Um, but yeah,
Is
I
that
think
a bad answer that we want to out the ads we want to make in the future aren't ads? I don't know if that's a good answer or not. Um,
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing this moment with us and about what you think. And congratulations again for winning this award. And best of luck with all your future projects. Hope to see lots more coming from you.
Thank you. Thank you
thank you
very
so
much.
much.